Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Grace Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last episode, we were doing a summation examination, and now we are going to be bringing forth the witnesses that Von Zeeks are bringing. Granted, bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. It's next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? You've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yes, I remember, one of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the next prosecution's witness. Alright, no matter who Von Zeeks brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end until this battle is over. Or if Scotland Yard is actually incompetent at their own job to not realize, like, you know, they don't read evidence or whatsoever. Whatever. Okay. Witnesses, please state your name and occupations for the court. Constable Roy beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir. Gah.
And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife.
I'm gonna give her the eeny-miny voice. I haven't used that voice in a while, but this should be fun. What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh really? I'm sure I heard that before, actually. Indeed. Apart from the rare days off, our gallant officers trudge 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true. And they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our street lights. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet. I have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying, without that, policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
Constable Roy Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir. What a great witness he's going to be. Very well. I'd like to hear from your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw in the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir. And he's sleeping again. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw.
It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog and on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help in a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him. It's clear as day.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. Damn it. Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene? If their testimony is true, then the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's no, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate chancing! And on your wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that.
Gosh, the life of a London bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed, however. This cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of a man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused Mr. Soseki Natsume. Uh-oh. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Uh-oh. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble, counsel for the defense. Commence the cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Here we go. Time to press each and every statement. No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you?
I think really looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
Jesus. Huh? What? Oh, I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was planning to get changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, really, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'm served my queen and my queen, sitting my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card, sir, proof that I'm a London copper. It has noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all of us policemen of sworn duty. Patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a single grumble, because I know that the plotting of my books is all Londoners need to hear and feel safe and secure. So fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just like because one particular day I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat put up a lot being married to a bobby like me, so I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care.
Oh, Pat.
Oh, really? Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such joy to behold. If a little over the top, perhaps? Yeah. And then kindly describe what happened next. Two silhouettes?
That's right, they were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction.
Huh?
There's a rather plump figure followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in the print, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately, it does. And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else?
Oh yes, quite certain it was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There's nobody else around at all, isn't that right, my darling?
What? Yes, that's right. Of course there was light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is a dead straight and you can see fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please. Mr. Beat, are you quite sure of what you just said? Yes, sir. As copper who spends all day every day keeping watch on the streets, I swear to it, sir. As I'm sure. As my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? They're still maintaining there was no one else other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsumi, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just now before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
Scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling?
What? Yes, that's right. And some old books,
I see, old books.
Yes, the culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement.
Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print. That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Whoa. You saw the knife. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. It was the man in the dock without question, sir. The rolly mustache, the 100-back, the cat-like eyes, the tout mouth, and the stub nose. Everything. Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right, he looked down at the poor defenseless woman, those terrifying intense eyes, and suddenly threw his books on the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. What about the knife? The knife, though? May I remind the court that this ambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please continue. Yes, sir. Gah, he sleeps again.
We ran straight over, of course, and went for help at a nearby police box.
Okay. Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I'm the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. But Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay out guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance.
That's why I said Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what did you mean exactly by the right police box? Depends on the crime's location, you see, who deals with it. And where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia to wait to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she can go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know?
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush. Isn't he, darling?
You gonna keep pulling his neck? Yes, sir, what Patricia said, sir. Let's move on, shall we?
It was definitely that Japanese man in the dark rolling eyes so bottom clear as day.
Okay. But surely you wouldn't have been able to see in his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I have, you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Ha. Yes, and what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have lived with it, of course.
Oh, it is, it is. And when it's thick, you can't even see the end of your own arm.
Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain there was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
What? Ah, yes. It was the accused and no mistake. The mustache and hunchback cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub. Unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be one. It was Soseki's son that was running away from the scene of the crime. This is hard. So that's it, is it? Their entire testimony? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beats saw what they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day? Yes, I feel the same. So if that's true, where does it leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. Oh no, then what do we do? If Kazuma-sama were here, what are you trying to say? I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. What do you mean, somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is equivocal. Calling that into question won't help. If you could identify some other part that their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, he might be able to discredit them, make the jury doubt their pair's memory of the day is accurate. Oh, right. Put simply, we must focus on finding discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, of course, what is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we told you so. It seems like you don't believe our testimony, is that right, is it? Well, out with it.
What? No, it's not that at all, but...
My husband's policeman. Remember, I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped?
The books...
Gave the names of every single one I could, every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
That will do, Mrs. Beat.
No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't you think for a moment that really will?
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fist down. Perhaps would you like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Beat? Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling?
He's still sleeping.
Can you even tell you the names of the 4 books he dropped?
4? Why is there 4? Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. Those purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question.
After I've been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. Proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for Rolly.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know, ever so hard, don't you, my darling?
Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, Mrs. Beat, seeing as you regard the court with details of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to now. Are you all listening? There was the picture of Monsieur Somebody or some other, and what's its yearnings, and there was a meal for someone, and last death one was the thing gummy something. You see?
You see the receipt. Picture, meal, yearnings. Wait. Whoa, 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 whoa. There's something wrong here. Let me check the history. A picture for some monster. Yearnings? Meal for someone. Hold up, let me check the court record again. Oh! Okay, it's the last one. Yes, I see there are only 1 or 2 holes in your memory.
Oh well, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure.
These were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it.
Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you made implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling?
Why? Anyone who upsets my Patricia will have to answer to. What? He has a gun? Gah. Terrifying. Yes, she really is. So that's it, is it? That's her. Okay. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna... Yeah. Alright. It's obviously... It's pretty obvious that there are 4 books instead of 3. So you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right, I remember all of them. The picture of the monster, somebody, what's its yearnings, a meal for someone, the thing gummy something.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat, but there is a fundamental flaw in this statement of yours.
Oh no, what flaw?
Simply that at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
This is the receipt from the bookshop where the defendant bought his books.
Your books?
Yes, it details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. As you can see, only 3 books are listed.
Only 3? But no, that can't be. I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell you, 4 dirty old books.
Oh really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books.
But I just don't believe it. I saw them there, I swear it, I saw them.
No, bad. I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied upon.
Grr.
So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no! No!
Hold up. Dang it. I'm adjusting myself. It's plainly evident. That is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my Nipponese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. The fact that you now know very well you have no hope of disproving. Huh? That doesn't really change much. So you straight into avert attention for that dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? Sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. We're trying to delay the trial to get as much info we can, but... What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. to the policeman's wife an entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Oh.
You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene of Briar Road, there are a total of 4 books that were most definitely found. But what about the photographic print? Yeah, what about that? He only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say... What? Allow me to present another. One that shows the victim's hand. I don't believe it. What? So the 4th... Wait. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. No! Wait a second. Submit as evidence. Order!
There, you see? Look at that, look!
Yes. Submit as evidence, please.
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling?
Yes, sir. Patricia's already was right, sir. Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh yes, of course, the picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
The picture of Monsieur Lecoq.
What's its yearnings?
Canterbury yearnings.
A meal for someone.
A meal for Gabbro, in fact. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book's titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's power of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Look at that, Rolly, the gentleman paid me a compliment.
Yes, sir, flawless, sir. Patricia's is flawless. But there are only 3 books in the receipt. Mrs. Beat mentioned 4. There is nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is which shown in this photographic print. I'm sorry, Constable, that does not seem odd. Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photographic print... Wait, whoa. What happened to the book? It looks like it's been burnt. Shows the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book? I wonder, what became of that 4th book? Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. You will submit that as aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel. My pleasure, my lord. We got some new evidence. Alright, court record. The prosecution rests. Hold up, court record. The Lion's Pride. Yeah, I noticed it too. Why is it burnt off?
Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt.
I think I know where this book came from.
You're right. You never be able to read it in this state, especially not the latter pages. What a terrible waste. I think I know. Yeah. But I can't bring it up now. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book. Recently damaged by fire? Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? Yeah, it looks like we got him. Let me see. A book entitled The Lion's Pride. I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all, so it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book like that name before, and very recent.
Yeah, I could tell. It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend, but your resistance until now has been vain, entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into the synonym.
You see, everything he said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, Pat, marry me, Pat. So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Damn it. Or is it the decision you have made all too apparent already? Fuck! We have to bring up the book. You have heard all the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in a terribly precarious position.
I know, but if I back in the wrong way now, it could very well make matters worse. Think Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now? I raise a son of an objection. I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it is over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. And the die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... Can't think of what to say.
If I may, Lord Von Zeeks, seems that somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be in lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh. Damn, go. Come on, Von Zeeks, that's not cool. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So if you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. Mr. Naruhodo. One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you, madam. Go ahead, Mr. Sato, please.
Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
It's the book. Bring up the book. Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've all been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. And we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. Yes, I understand, and thank you, Mr. Sato. This is it. Sato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. Can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord.
Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and hitherto been overlooked. The book. What is this book?
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book found in the victim's hand.
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than that being the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further will be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know.
Not really.
Yes, I'm afraid, Counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led to the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a little hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist for you elaborate, Counsel. You identified this clue at once. Do I make myself clear? Oh, yes, my lord. It's,
So Naruhodo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of it.
Yeah, I can tell. He really wants to dismiss it.
Which means he may very well be on the right track.
Yes, I think you might be right. So, Counsel, precisely where is the vital clue in this case which the fourth book conceals? I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. The back? What do you... Good gracious! It's been burned to a crisp!
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponi's friend? Oh, were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day? Pray and do enlighten us all what truth of this charred book hide.
A charred book. There's one possibility here in which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. An outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can assert from the fire damage from the Soritona suffered?
The shop that sold it? Its owner. Its owner. Or its content. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's content.
What on earth do you mean?
To have enraged the reader to the point of burning it, we can be quite sure that this book is a dreadful read.
I think that's wrong. Indeed.
That's right, a dreadful read.
A valid conclusion.
Oh good, everyone seems to agree. Maybe I'm onto something here. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo, I most certainly cannot agree.
No, you're right. Damn it! Damn it! You javated me! Javation!
A copy up the lion's pride that's recently suffered damage from a fire? Why do I feel as though I know about this book already from somewhere?
Don't keep us waiting any longer. Playing the steer.
Okay. Its owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
I beg your pardon.
But we already know the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor. After all, it's obviously hers. The question is how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers.
Good gracious, how could you possibly? Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes AWOL. Counsel, the defense response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book?
Garradeb, isn't it? The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garradeb.
The landlords?
And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garradeb herself. Oh my goodness me! I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm, not Mr. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garrideb's house?
I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate this hardworking member of the public, you besmirch her without a shred of evidence? Your actions are unforgivable. This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed in the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house.
Good lord, what sort of incident, counsel?
A fire, my lord.
Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of all is, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride?
By Jove, the very same title that's the subject of this debate. Oh dear me!
This is risible. All of you told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself from the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into detail, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mrs. Garrideb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful! I can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you love, can you, Rolly?
Absolutely not, sir. The patrician would never raise a finger against me, sir.
Had all of my favorite old novels in that case. As soon as the fire got hold of me, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Then the wife started hurling things at me. There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to a dozen.
A man that has had his back up against the window, he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown in through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there was no report of the Garrideb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garrideb household. But is it not conceivable that the window was open at the time in? Not even remotely. Let us not forget the season, the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter.
Does the defense postulate this scenario in all seriousness, counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book found in the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garrideb's wife?
I believe it's a possibility, my lord.
It's quite enough.
Uh-oh.
Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are now, you little foreign trickster! You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward! A mean
What do you mean a coward? Really?
Him and our little tiff set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly! Imply that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake? How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, and not any of you to sully your family's name!
No, I assure you that was never my intention.
Dragging upstanding citizens' name into the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears for what I should. It's utterly unforgivable.
Too right.
Here we go.
How long have we sat here now, listening to this Nippon spouting his foreign theories, fancy theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly stab the victim is that little hunchback of him in a mustache as you ran away from the scene, too.
Oh, I do declare you're right.
It's true.
Yes, what did I tell you?
Makes sense to me. Sorry? What's that?
That's not good. Please, please, please don't change your vote. Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Von Zeeks? He's gonna pour more wine.
In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage.
No, wait. The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... He's putting his foot down.
If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them in your own time.
What? No, forgive the discourtesy this time? Ahem, in that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear. Guilty. No! 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 Damn it! Not you two! No! 6 votes to... Alright, another summation examination. Can we do another summation? Thank you for that ambiguous response. That's twice now. It's over. So Naruhodo, don't give up. Mrs. Sato, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggesting another summation? Of course, the defense has the right to another summation examination at this point. You can still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance. My lord, the defense has to exercise his right for a summation examination.
You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve?
I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to cover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. To begin. Alright, I think this is a good time to end the episode. Alright. So next time on Grace Ace Attorney Chronicles, we're gonna be starting part 2 of the trial. And hopefully, we could start on the summation examination. See you guys all next time.